Here's the layout for this video. If you want, use the timestamps to jump to whatever point you want. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I have the Rubik's Speedcube here. I picked this up at Target a couple days ago and honestly didn't look at it a whole lot. I saw that it was a Speedcube and figured that I'd give it a go, try it out, and see how it was. Until this morning, I did not realize that this actually has magnets in it. So that is a huge surprise to me. I originally wasn't planning on doing a review for this cube, but I opened it and I was doing some turns and was instantly surprised with the turning quality and realized that this could be a budget option for Speedcubers. So although I've done some solves on it, I have not changed anything. So this is the out of the box settings, and just listening to it, you can tell it sounds very dry. So the turning reminds me a lot of a Speedcube. I mean, very smooth, very fast. I'm doubting this has any lube in it whatsoever, but it does have magnets inside of it. So let me pull that apart and take a look real quick. So we'll take a look at the edge in the corners, which is where all the magnets are. There's a total of 48. So looking at the edge here, you can see that there's a magnet on either side, and that is interacting with the corner. Oh, if I fit it the right way. So it's interacting with the corner. Whenever you're getting towards the end of your turns, it will help hold it in place. And while turning, I noticed like it's not extremely strong. The magnets aren't extremely strong, so they're not holding it together too much. But it's enough that you can tell that it's making a difference and is helping the solves. So for the corner, there is a magnet on each point that will be contacting an edge. So 3 magnets for each corner. There's only magnets in the corners and edges, but it's more than plenty to give this cube a good feel and put it up with some of the higher end Speedcubes. There also is an adjustable tensioning mechanism, so if you need to, you can loosen it up or tighten it up. Okay. So if I pop the cap off there, you can see that there is this screw in the middle, so adjusting that will adjust your tensions. I may adjust those a little bit just to find something that works for me. Right out the gate, it does not seem extremely controllable. As I mentioned, it's extremely dry, so there's very little lube in it, and a lot of times I feel like I'm missing my turns. So one thing that I would say is the biggest difference between this and a lot of other Speedcubes I have, at least right out of the box before throwing in lube or anything, is that I feel like I can't catch up if I make a mistake. With some other cubes, I'll make a misturn, but then I'm quickly able to, redo that turn and continue with my scramble. I feel like with other cubes, if I make a misturn, I can quickly, undo that turn and continue on with the solve. But with this one, if I miss a turn, it just gets completely lost and I lose a lot of time. So I'll be doing a solve, and it honestly doesn't feel like I'm doing that bad. I average around 10 seconds, and then I'll have like one singular mess up on this, and I'm scrambling around and it ends up being like a 19-second solve. So definitely something that hopefully the tensioning and lubing will help, but for first impressions, yeah, this cube is fast, it's very light, but it's not very controllable, and part of that could be that I just haven't spent enough time solving with it, and honestly it's not performing too bad right now. So for these magnets, they're not extremely strong. If I do like a singular flick, I can do almost like 2 full rotations, so they're not really holding it back that much. Even if I turn it slightly, it's not returning back to its original state. So like you can feel it lock into place when it's directly above it, but it's not gonna really adjust you a whole lot during the middle of your solves. With respect to turning, I mean, very smooth. Hopefully when I add the lube, that doesn't make the cube too fast, because I don't think the magnets will be able to keep up with it, but we shall see. The plastic itself that's used has a very kind of interesting feel. There's not a whole lot of grip to it. There's enough grip, but I noticed that if my hands are dry, it's really cold here right now, so if I'm outside and I come back in, I have to wait for my hands to get a little bit grippier before I'm even able to really solve most efficiently. So let's do some tests with corner cutting. Not too bad. Let's see if we can get 45 degrees. Nope, just under. Looks like about 30 degrees. Let's see reverse. Oh, that's actually not too bad. Pretty similar actually between reverse and regular corner cutting. All right, there we go. We're almost near 45 there, pretty close. So right out of the box, this is a great turning cube, but let's tension a little bit, throw in some lube, and see what we can do. So I'm gonna give it some Mystic to hopefully give it a nice smooth feel. And I also will be adding some DNM 37 to speed it up a little bit. So let's add the Mystic first and see if that helps. I'm not gonna add a whole lot, probably just like 2 drops. That honestly should be plenty. I'll break it in with just the Mystic first, and then I will add the DNM 37 after and break it in again. Okay, just by adding the Mystic, this already is a completely different cube with respect to turn style. It did give it that plush, smooth feeling that the Lube says it'll provide, which is really nice. Let's see if we can speed it up with the DNM 37 now. Like I mentioned before, I don't think I'm going to need a whole lot, just a little bit to give it a kick. Okay, so that sped it up quite a bit actually. This almost feels like it would be out of control, so I may have to tighten the tensions up a little bit or just do some solves to fully break it in and make sure I'm fully used to the cube before I make any assumptions. Alright, so let's do a solve and we'll see if that lube helped with respect to the stability of the cube and just the overall turning. Let's see here. Actually, really solid blue cross there. Okay, very poorly executed, but right off the bat, I will admit that does feel extremely smooth in comparison, much more controllable, because I feel like the cube is finishing the turns. Before, it felt like sometimes it wasn't finishing the turn, and I'd go to turn and I'd get caught up and I'd mess up a couple moves. But with this, it's so much smoother just by adding that little bit of lube, finishing the turns, and overall just a really good turning experience. But let's do another solve and see if we can get something better for you guys. Okay, pretty solid. I'll be doing more solves later. I'll probably give a final impressions with an average of 5 or something like that. But this is a really solid cube, guys. I mean, for $15, this is definitely competing against some of the top brands such as GAN, where they want you to spend like $90, $90 to $100 just to buy a cube that changes very slightly each rendition that comes out. I mean, obviously, they are a really good cubing company. They're going to sell good products, but for a beginner, you can literally stop at a Target or a Walmart and pick one of these up, which is super cool. So for the beginner, I feel like this is a really nice option to get started with speed cubing. You can spend a little bit of money, buy these pretty cheap lubes, and it'll give you a very, very nice turning experience. I will end with doing some solves here and give my final impressions on it. But thanks for watching so far, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. So while I feel like I got some pretty decent solves with this cube, especially the 7-second solve here, I feel like I was not reaching my full potential with this cube. You'll notice that with a lot of the solves here, they're executed fairly well, but there's a lot of instances where I'm getting catches in crucial parts of the solve during an algorithm or while I'm turning the cube where I'm losing out on precious time. While this could be associated with user error, aka me just being bad, I do feel like the cube itself is limiting me from that. It feels like it's catching at times, and I feel like if I spent more time using this cube, I could probably just get more used to how it turns, but at least off of a first impressions basis, that's kind of the feeling I'm getting from it. I only did an average of 40, so I can't say for sure that problem wouldn't go away, but I did enjoy the way it turned. I did end up averaging around like 11.5 seconds, which I'll show at the end of this, but I can't say I was blown away. I will say this is an excellent cube for beginners, and only being at a price point of $15, it's a pretty dang good cube. So if you're just starting out, or even if you have a cube that's maybe not the best or doesn't have magnets, go ahead and buy this cube. I feel like it's worth the $15 and you'll still get some good value out of it. By adding just a little bit of lube, you can put it up with a lot of the speed cubes in this generation, including older GAN versions. If you're looking for the best cube, you'll probably have to spend a little bit more money, but overall, in conclusion, I feel like the Rubik's Speedcube is a solid cube overall for its price point. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and comment if you have the Rubik's Speedcube yourself, what are your thoughts on it, and make sure to subscribe as well. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Bye-bye.